Every time I make a video, it's because I'm suicidal. See, a lot of people say things like, I'm powerless, or I'm sorry, or things of that nature. That's why I talk about sin, safety in numbers. It doesn't just come down to voting, it comes down to taking an active part, an active role in changing things for the better, being the hero that you needed. I really can't express how much some help is meant so good-hearted. It really is. But I'm going to give you an example of just something small today. And of course, this has no bearing on really much else except as a metaphor. The sidewalk at the gas station is just wide enough for the door to be open. When you open the door all the way, it goes to like this far from the end of the sidewalk. So a lady wanted to be kind and hold the door open for me. But she basically just used the door to block off the sidewalk and then the distance of her body standing there. I still said thank you. But basically, she added a whole bunch for me because since the door was already open and she was keeping it open, I had to walk off the sidewalk and around her to get into the building. So, although she didn't mean any harm in it, that's just a few seconds. That's just maybe a second and a half, 2 seconds to walk around her and say thank you. That's all the more that adds. It's not a major agitation at all. But a lot of people's help, especially with their expectations of me to walk around, there's two doors there. There's one that opens this way and one that opens this way. If she'd opened the one on this side, it wouldn't have been so awkward with me standing there staring her face to face. But I did say thank you. I was glad that she tried, that she made the effort. But sometimes people don't understand how their help is like that. This Jeep, for example. I need to be able to conserve my money so I can do the things I need to do, like take photocopies and get a roof over my head. And I don't really have that much. So any money that I get spent pretty well on gasoline and my telephone. Thank goodness people were kind to me and helped me with that. A lot of people that I'm mad at, it's because they weren't understanding how their help wasn't helping, or where it needed to go, or what my capabilities while I'm having a severe panic attack are. Yes, I literally, after all of what happened the year before Natalie died, and then her getting shot in the head, yeah, I'm not capable of taking care of myself. And I explain that a lot. And people damn me and condemn me for it, often. When I was homeless, I wasn't a beggar. I held a sign a couple of times. A couple. One of those times was to get diapers for Desiree's kids. That's when she lived in the North Boulder Trailer Park there. She was taking care of her mom. It's because I can't see my friends or loved ones. That's why I'm suicidal. That's why I want it all to be over. A lot of these people that are mad at me for screaming and shouting on the internet, I'm screaming and shouting because I can't see them. If they want to leave over that, that's on them. As long as you're not taking evidence with you. But a lot of people's help did cost me a lot. And a lot of people's help, it wasn't anything that I could do to step around them. Like when somebody says they're gonna give me a certain amount on Friday and they don't give me that amount, well, that kind of screws me over a little bit. But I have to do my best to try to come up with it so that I can pay all of the expectations of the courts. But then there's a lot of people that got really mean at me that were giving me money, and you know what? If they're going to be mean at me, I'm going to be mean back, and I'm going to tell them to go away. See, that's the thing. These people's help hasn't helped me in the legal department. It's just helped me to be stuck in the legal department, and they don't mean for it to be that way. But without somebody going in person, I'm in there having a panic attack, trying to get 5 or 6 things that are all intermingled in my head, but it's not crazy because it's all stuff that coincides with the same story. A lot of the side story that goes along with it, and the reason that I made the decisions that I made, and the reason that I thought the things that I thought. It's not complete lunacy for me to believe that Ted had done it. At the time, I had good reason to believe that. Ted or Tim. And there's a lot of stuff that just happened to be coincidence that people just went off on. Like the straightest route and the easiest bus route between Ken and Leah's and where Miss Peaches lived is literally right down Federal. At the time, I was still surprised that she wasn't in Virginia, you know? And that's the thing that really messed me up. I mean, I just... When I found out she was in Colorado and she'd been in Colorado and she was already dead. Because as soon as I got that protection order, I knew that it was at a jurisdiction, and I'd been getting this jurisdiction bullshit all along. I needed somebody to go in there with me and help. I didn't understand all of this stuff, and most of it I still don't. I don't understand it because it's okay for one person, but not for another. Or it's okay for this group of people, but it's not alright for me. How the standard is a double standard. I kept it pretty clean, though. By saying that, I mean I didn't go running around threatening everybody. I didn't spend all that time trying to destroy people's lives with lies. I just told the truth about them, and that hurt them so much more. That's why a lot of people are hateful at me. It's because I'm honest. Honestly, I may not be in your situation, but I can see an addict when I see an addict. I can hear the addictive tones in your voice. Or I can smell the booze. And most of the people I know are protecting addicts who are abusive. I don't understand it. The victims reciprocating the pain, but at the same time I do understand it because they don't have the money to leave. They're afraid of homelessness for good reason. A lot of people victimize the homeless, and then they say that people don't victimize the homeless. Those very same people. It's kind of like a lot of the women that I know that are always typing about how men are pigs. They're also the ones typing about wanting to get laid the most. Needing that kind of attention the most. I'm like, hey, this is a double standard. You say that men are pigs, and you're always talking about how they only want one thing, and because they're terrible, this, that, and the other. And then you're after the same thing. You're asking for a man in specific for specifically that on Facebook. And then you're complaining that all men are that way. I'm not like that. I choose not to be like that. Somebody has to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And I don't always know the right thing to do, but I do my best. A lot of the things that people are telling me to try, they're not understanding how much I went through. I mean, I need to go file police reports against multiple agencies in multiple jurisdictions, and I can't function mentally enough to do that. I shut down. Because everything is temporary or it's not available. It's difficult to have a vehicle and no gas. It's difficult to have just enough money to make a few copies, but you get down there and they're closed. Should have spent it on gas, right? Or you don't have enough money for 10,000 different things that people keep telling you need to do. And I'm like, I know. The number of screenshots that I have, I took most of them. And a few of them were from other people, and I saved them too. There were actually quite a few from other people. I don't want to ruin your day by not wanting to exist. When I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, it's because I want to see the people I love. There's a big difference between not being able to see any of them and what most people are telling me. They say, well, if they're like that, they're not your friends. No, it's not like that. They live in Boulder, most of them. People who assault me are in Boulder, most of them. The state of Colorado licenses these officers to do whatever they want. Now, in prison, I don't know what it's like. I've never been there. But in the jails, the guards automatically assume your guilt because you're in jail. They won't take a report from you. They won't nothing. There was one officer, he was a jerk. The stuff that he tried to pull as far as phone calls and everything like that in Arapahoe, he was really messed up. He was involved with at least 5 different situations where he was very antagonistic. Other inmates told him to chill out. That's how bad he was. But he says, I'm always the happy guy. Everybody knows me as the guard who's always happy. I'm like, dude, you got no idea. When you were playing them head games, my roommate got to hear them. He was in the same cell with me. When this guy said that I was kicking the door repeatedly, even after he asked me to stop, I'm like, no, dude. No, dude. I've been clicking the button because you haven't come down here with an investigator. I try every single night. Every single night that I was there. I'm not the only one who documented the abuse. They wouldn't take a report from most of those people who were trying to complain about the abuse from specific officers. I don't want to go spend another 39 years being punished because of people's shitty assumptions. Their assumptions of why and what. When we're talking about the fact that I had to go to, well, an average of 6 to 9 appointments just for the courts and lawyers, public pretenders, every month, at least 6 appointments. Some months I had to go 9, each one an average of $100 to go do it. I needed that money to take care of myself. In order to move on, I need to be allowed to move on. I'm not any less disabled than I was before. In fact, I'm more so. It cost me more money than I made last year to try to go around to all of their appointments and try to appease people by walking around the door. It's not that their intentions are bad, it's that they don't understand. They don't take the time to. See, if you care, you do need to take the time to listen. And I know people don't watch most of my videos, especially since I make a lot of them. I spend too much time by myself, and I go through too much hell as a result of it. We means we. There's a lot of people. The whole point here is that nobody's life is perfect, and everybody's got a past. Everybody. When people want to judge me for mine, they should understand the situation. They should understand the situation for me because I was there. Instead of throwing me away because I scream. Now, a lot of my friends, I can't see them because of other people. It's not that these people don't want to see me. It's that I can't go to where they are without running into 10 dumbasses who want to believe rumors and try to fucking hurt me. Before, it was 1 or 2 dumbasses. Because they wanted to believe a rumor instead of listening to it from the horse's mouth. Natalie never said those things, but on her last post that she made, when she typed that stalker stuff, people went straight for the rapist, child molester, this, that, and the other immediately. Just like people I knew in real life had done. People who Maddie Boa sold her drugs to. Now, I get that she was trying to clean up off the drugs and go to rehab and all that after that. But she didn't stick to it. I know you guys want to tell me your stories too. But I can't help you until I've got my stuff out of the way. That's why I went out of my way not to do things that would get me in trouble. So that I could help others when they got in a fucked up situation. There's a lot of ways to save money. Don't get anyone pregnant. That's a good start. A lot of people, once they got kids, they need a lot of help. And I know a lot of parents who claim they did it all themselves that I've helped a lot. So everybody needs help. Even Donald Trump needs help building his wall now, don't he? People don't want to help him, do they? Well, all politics aside, it didn't work building a wall in China. It didn't work building a wall in Berlin. It just creates resentment. I live in a real nasty world. A lot of these people can't help me because of fucked up situations that they're in. And, for me, number one, not being able to help them, and number two, needing them to come forward and be honest about their stories. Why they couldn't help. Their illnesses, their kids dying, their mothers dying, their aunts dying. All things that I've had to endure as well. A lot of people dying. I don't go to funerals because it's not how I want to remember them, but there are some occasions where I'll make it special. My grandma, oh yeah. I went to that. Both grandmas. A lot of people I worry about. A lot of people I haven't even met because of the things they tell me. The reasons why they can't help. It's depressing. But when they offer to help me and I try to explain what's going on so that they understand, don't make suggestions until you know the full story. A lot of people have their minds made up and their own assumptions made up. And I need them to not. I need you to forget everything from texting and listen to me. But then again, if I'm making a video, it's because I'm depressed because I can't see my loved ones. Every one of my videos. And I try not to be that depressed. I'm just screaming for help and so hoping somebody hears me, but it's specific help that I need. Help that I could have obtained for myself if it weren't for all of the costs of being falsely accused. Especially in a hostile environment. And it was hostile. Still is. There's still people there that think I killed Natalie. Apparently they didn't watch the news. Or they only watched it far enough to see my face and went, oh, he did it. No, I didn't. And then there's people that are like, oh, well, you know, the thing with Natalie is over already. They caught the guy who did it. I'm like, I know. But the things that the police and the Bollingers and all of these web sleuth groups and the media, the things that they said, the people that I know in real life will remember forever. And there are complete strangers that do recognize my face. And they don't do nice things. They don't say nice things. There's a few people that didn't know. One of the ladies who was saying that she thinks I should have my thingy cut off. She still thought that I had killed Natalie 2 weeks ago. When I sent her the thing showing that Joseph Lopez was going to prison for 48 years, she changed her tune a complete 180. She started trying to understand on a different level. She started to see my frustration and why I'm still screaming. These aren't just my rights, these are ours. And even though a lot of the people who have gone through it and been publicized the shit out of on the news because of how messed up it was that the Boulder Police and other agencies down there have done to them, like Adams County officers raping a woman while taking her home from the hospital. And Boulder Police killing a person. And very same ones that were making fun of me in the Boulder County Jail and assaulting me. I mean, there were easily 10 to 15 guards at the least in the Boulder County Jail who took part at least in the harassment. There were 6 or 7 of them that took an active part in the assaults. If I go to Colorado, I get to go to the same jails where they have me pegged as a certain type of person that I'm not. I'm acting out because I can't see my loved ones and I'm being abused. Right this moment, am I being hit? Am I being kicked? Am I being spat on? No. But I can't see my loved ones, and if I do, I get assaulted. I go to the very same jails where everybody refused to take my report already, and now people are like, oh, well, you should fill out this document and that document. And I'm like, I know you're telling me to do it myself. I've been doing it myself. Most of that stuff. And I never said all by myself, now did I? Although on the things that I did say all by myself on, I'm pretty sure I did it all by myself. But everything, oh hell no. My emotional needs aren't met. My physical needs aren't met. Natalie deserved a better life than what she got, but she's not the only person. I deserved a better life than what I got. Most of the people that I know, their biggest issue is the amount that they're giving up to the government and the promises that they're given. Shit, I just knocked the cherry off my cigarette. And they jump through hoops for these, this help that's supposed to exist, only to find out that it costs them more than they ever got out of it. A lot of people who turn in their predators, it ends up costing them more than they ever got out of it. The police are ineffective because of laws that are meant to try to help cities not get sued. That means it's fine and dandy to make somebody who's homeless not have a voice. They don't get a real lawyer because they don't have any money. And as far as getting a public pretender, the public pretender gets paid whether you win or not. The same amount whether you win or not. They don't get bonuses for winning. So they trade people's lives like trading cards. Hey, I'll give you 4 of the hobos on my roster if you let this single mom go. I can understand that. You're thinking about the kids. Well, so am I. When I helped out Miss Jerry, I was thinking about the kids. When I helped out Amanda, I was thinking about the kids. When I helped out Jenny, I was thinking about the kids. When I helped out Jamie, I was thinking about her son. At first, I was thinking about her, because her mother had died. It's not just worrying about people. I don't want to meet 400 new people to hear their sob stories, if that's what they're going to call mine. If they're going to pour their stuff on me and then condemn me for feeling the same way, well, yeah, I'm going to show that they felt the same way. Except many of them are more violent. They talk about hitting people and kicking people and punching people and killing people and killing people and killing people. And oh my God. A lot of the folks who said they want to help me. They just keep on saying things like that, and it bugs me. When I threatened people in specific, and it took me a while to psych myself up to do that. I think threatening people is fucking gross. But a lot of people threatened me. And a lot of people who tried to help me felt threatened all throughout this. And they're all letting me know that these people are threatening them, and these people are doing things that are creepy to them. All the while calling me the creep. Never allowing me a day in court. You know what? We should do away with public pretenders altogether. If it's a lower level crime, you should be allowed to defend yourself. Matter of fact, it should be more of an informal hearing than anything else. You should be allowed to go in there with your evidence and show it. They did everything they could to prevent me from doing that. They literally prevented me from having that date and having the evidence longer than was legally allowed. And then my public pretender pretended like she was in a car accident in order to make up for not having that evidence, not trying to get that evidence. And it was a few days after it was legal for them to do so. And I had this dude who's telling me, yeah, we can't hold your hearing today, so we need you to sign this piece of paper. I'm like, I don't want to sign that. It says 35 days. It's been over 35 days. Basically, they let me know that I could either waive that or I was just going to sit there. They were going to do whatever they wanted. What they did is illegal and immoral. But they didn't care about that. What's a few extra days as far as the law goes? Meanwhile, a lot of the evidence that I need to requisition, I had 30 or 90 days to get. Meanwhile, all of my time and money is getting spent moving and moving and moving and moving and moving some more. Under a high-stress environment. I protected people from bullies, even people who were trying to kill them. I just need people to be honest. If I ever stood in front of a knife for you, the least that you can do is come forward and be honest. If I ever stood in between you and people who were trying to beat you up, you owe it to me to be honest, don't you? No? You don't? Well, that's not going to stop me from being honest. Somebody has to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. A lot of these people that stab me in the back, it's because they don't want to lose their house over this or their kids over this. I don't have any kids. I don't have a house. What do I have to lose for standing up for those kids the way it needs to be done? These parents are so afraid to lose those kids that they're not fighting for those kids' rights or their own rights. Because they're afraid their kids will get taken away by these very same police that people want to condemn me about. Officer Lolatai, he's the one that assaulted me in the Boulder Public Hospital. He assaulted another man in the worst kind of way as well. But that man, well, people listened to him, whereas the way I was painted, people didn't want to come near it. Darren O'Connor, he went to college to defend people just like me, but then because of his court cases of his own and having to worry about his family, yeah, he has to distance himself from it too, whereas he can help out a lot of these other people. You know, Darren and I were both trying to get video recording equipment and a place to do it, to get these people's stories. Because if America is so great, why is it that the mighty dollar is wonderful as it's supposed to be, and as much as it's supposed to get us, we spend a gross amount to pay for things we're not getting? Like, yeah, come to find out that the insurance you sign is only good for 2 types of cancer, and there's thousands of types of cancer. Or you have to pay this insurance, but it covers everything but flood. And you're paying this stuff every month, and you know what? We got countries where they're getting those things. Where they're getting the things that you're paid for. Or paying for. Those of you who are working and paying taxes are paying it out. And those people in these jails who are doing these terrible things to inmates. That's the thing about being accused of killing somebody, among other things. I believe in doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. The difference between what I'm saying and people calling me a liar over it and what other people are saying who weren't there is that it doesn't matter what they have to say. They weren't there. But then again, they sin. They have the safety in numbers. Numbers enough of people to go around harassing, threatening, and assaulting people who tried to help me. And you guys don't want me to die. But you don't want to do anything about these terrible things that have happened. You tell me to let it go. Meanwhile, they haven't let it go. The courts in Colorado didn't let it go. They didn't look at the truth either. They want to pretend that I'm the bad guy and everything that they did was justified. All of the illegal things that they did, they magically justified. Illegal things that they did before I had to break the law to try to force them to look. They intimidated people into not going in and making a report with me. I need somebody to go in there with me who understands the situation for my own safety from those officers. Because a lot of stuff happened. And for me, trying to communicate with someone what happened when they're asking questions that are actually all over the place, I'm trying to explain to you from point A to point Z. It's a timeline. But then when I have to condense it, there's a lot of little parts of that timeline that I have to stop and tell that part so that you understand it, and then go back to my original story. And that messes with the timeline as well. That's why I need time to do it. But time with the resources to do it, so that I'm not having a constant panic attack because I'm in survival mode. You know what survival mode is? It's where you revert back to hunter-gatherer. You're gathering resources. You are trying to get the resources. Meanwhile, for being falsely accused, it cost me all of my resources and the resources of others. And I don't know about you, but I feel awful fucking shitty about using and utilizing their resources when it didn't do any damn good because nobody came in person. The day that I was arrested by those officers in Longmont and they stole that evidence, if Miss Peaches had gone in with me, it would have gone a lot different. And that bag of evidence could have gone into her hands and she could have tried to help get me a lawyer. But no, it went into property and evidence in Officer Brian Valenzuela's department, and my lawyer refused to get that information. Every single place that I went before I was arrested in Longmont, I took that bag with me and tried to show the police. Not just the police, my public pretenders. They're investigators. That's why I invested all of that money in going to those places, because they were required for my case. But these people didn't want to do their jobs. I don't deserve to take all of this punishment. They have overwhelming caseloads, and they can't actually defend every single person that comes in there. Most of the time, my lawyers didn't get a chance to review any of the stuff with me before we were in court. They would come introduce themselves to me right before we have to go up and stand in front of the podium. They don't know shit about my case. They don't have time to do the paperwork and do the requisitioning, and they're not keeping in contact with me enough to do so. My lawyers, I had 7 of them when I was in Arapahoe County. Only one of them was my public appointed fucking attorney, Pamela Carty, but she just kept on not showing up. She didn't show up in court repeatedly, just like my other public pretenders. And she didn't show up for our appointments repeatedly. She blindsided me with stuff before court, and she wants me to keep my voice down because the prosecution can hear me. Are you kidding me, lady? You just came in here and told me right in court. I mean, I'm already visibly agitated and fucking scared shitless because of the way that I've been treated. And this woman wants to add to it that way, in that exact fashion. And then the week that all that stuff happened with the protection orders with Miss Shelley, I was in jail when they handed me that paperwork. 6 days before court, and they prevented me from going. And Pamela Carty, this woman, was on vacation. Now, right before she went on vacation, she was going to come see me, but she didn't. Right before court, she was going to come see me, but she didn't. Now, in that court case, it was in a different county, so she couldn't. She's like, well, I let them know that you weren't able to go to court, but it doesn't make any difference. You have to have a requisition in 7 days before court. Like, really? I got served the papers 6 days before court. I am incarcerated. I've been prevented from going to all of my court dates because I'm incarcerated. If these courts knew that I was incarcerated, then they would understand and I wouldn't have to deal with warrants. But my public pretender couldn't even do that, and I wasn't able to because I didn't have access to a phone like that. Yes, I know that your public pretender is a free call. She's the only person that I could call for free. I couldn't call my public pretenders in Nebraska. I didn't even have their fucking number. The one in Scotts Bluff, yeah. The one in Chapel, no. I found out after I got out of jail that there were warrants out for my arrest in Nebraska. And the problem with getting arrested is that in all of these cases, they're going to hold me long enough that I'm not going to be able to get the evidence in any of these cases to show their wrongdoing, their wrongful arrest, their wrongful assaults, their wrongful drugging. I don't put drugs into my own system. What makes you think I'm going to let you put a needle full of drugs in me? Don't threaten me. I'm trying to make a report. Don't assault me for it. This is the America we live in, though. Gestapo tactics.